The knife set right here.
Anybody can commit murder. If I close my eyes and I'm riding by the place, I can still see it.
It was the kind of case that chilled the spine of a seasoned investigator.
As far as bad cases, gruesome cases, this is the worst.
What does the worst look like? This is it, in April 2008. 16-year-old Meghan Landowski, in a pool of blood, stabbed more than 40 times, bound and sexually assaulted, discovered by her stepfather, who will be haunted by those images forever.
It looks like somebody tried to show her arms were tied behind her back.
Do you know if she's breathing?
No, she's not. She's not even bleeding anymore. She's cold. I got to call my wife. I'm standing in the blood now.
That takes a special kind of person. It does. It's not every person you meet can do that.
It was a teenage violin virtuoso, Robert Barnes. He did it. The unlikely suspect pleaded guilty in 2009 after a trail of bloody knives, DNA, and his own words pointed investigators to him as the killer. He was a friend of Meghan's, and while his guilty plea gave Meghan's mother some closure, there is still the question of why.
He was a good kid, but he just snapped. There's just something in him that snapped. And I will never know why. I will never know why.
Detective Sergeant Robert McDaniel has worked both homicide and special victims and has a theory about Robert Barnes.
He had romantic interest in her, and she had at some point rejected him prior to this.
McDaniel was a part of the team who interviewed Barnes prior to the guilty plea.
He was rehearsing while he was sitting in the room before we even talked to him.
We did everything on the bed. Okay. And then, it was, I roughed her up a little, like I said.
I wanted to make it look like, well, there was somebody else that was there, and they're the ones that actually did all the bad stuff that was involved in it.
How could Robert Barnes calmly explain stabbing Meghan more than 40 times, leaving her in a pool of blood, disposing of the weapon in a nearby drain, and then calmly going on with his afternoon? Detective McDaniel says he may be one of those people where something inside him is missing.
Sociopathic in nature, and that gives them the ability to block out the emotions that it takes to feel and care about what's going to happen to somebody else.
For those who do feel, it remains raw and real after all these years. Meghan's family never came back after her murder, but weeks later, prosecutors and detectives did come back and go inside one cold winter day.
In my mind, everything was exactly the way it was that day. So, all these years later, if I close my eyes and I'm riding by the place, I can still see it.
In Portsmouth, Barbara Ciara, News 3.